Before we can get into color blocking our great white shark, we have to first do all of the texture and finish off the majority of our background. We will be having to do the lower portion of our gradient with this dark blue down here over a few different steps, just because we have to take time for that to dry. But we can get all of our ripples and texture in the water done right now and then move right into our great white shark. So the colors that we're going to be working with are mostly our Phthalo Blue and our Teal, and we're going to be using a new brush, and this brush is our medium flat brush. So this guy right here, it's a smaller version of our big one. It's great for both color blocking and for even doing very nice slim little details, which is what we're going to use it for right now. So you see I just grabbed a little bit of my teal and a little bit of my blue, and I mixed up a little side color right here, and then I just started at the corner, and I'm just going to very gently start laying in some of these ripples, this darker color. So we want to start with our darks, and then we're going to work in our lighter colors. And as we're doing this, we're not going to let any of it wait time for any of it to dry. We're just going to start layering in with the light colors on over the darks and just let them kind of smoothly transition into one another, just by the fact that everything is still wet. So I'll just as an example so you can see, I put in that blue mix and then I go over immediately with some of our teal. And we don't need to perfectly go in between all the lines. You almost kind of want to blur them a bit by overlapping these colors. Looks very, very nice. And there we go. So just like that. Getting some more teal in here. Remember what I said earlier, we're really not going to have any white in here. We don't really want that. We want to keep it mostly on the blue teal spectrum. Grab some more of our Phthalo Blue and I'm going to mix it all on the canvas. So you see you can do it a few different ways. You can mix them over here a little bit, just mostly for that transition line between this dark to the light is where I recommend that. But you're going to be using these colors in both the higher water column and the lower water column as we develop these ripples. And the biggest thing that you just need to keep in mind is that you're going to be doing them at a curve. And that curve is going to come all the way down here, and it's going to almost touch our great white shark, but not all the way. We're just going to go in and do a few little tick marks in and around it just to integrate that feeling of those ripples going down into the water and behind our shark. And it just really helps balance and create harmony in the piece. Just like so. So you see I'm holding what's called, at least what I like to call it, the skinny side of the brush. So broadside would be using this big broadside, and then just turn it this way and then face it this way onto the canvas and do these tiny little strokes just like this. It's a very good detail brush, even though you wouldn't necessarily think so when you first look at it. But again, very versatile. Flat brushes are really great, and you can use them in many different ways to get some cool effects. Yeah, I'm going to come back over here and I'm grabbing the Phthalo Blue, just kind of jotting that in. And again, guys, you don't need to be following this exactly as I'm doing it. This is your painting, so please add those colors in the way that feel best for you. But just so you know, I will be just layering in all the way down so you can see. There's no way that I can recreate my painting over again, so don't try to make yours look exactly like mine, guys. Let it be yours. Right, and I'm going to grab some more of that Phthalo Blue. So you see how we're having almost a conversation, as I like to say, with the painting. We're moving back and forth, working those colors, really getting a feel for that color and those different hues and saturations that we're creating here. We're gonna add just a little bit more brightness over here. Actually, maybe bring down some of that brightness a little bit more. See, again, we're just lightly touching the great white shark and then grabbing some of that blue, that dark blue, and working the colors out. And grab more of that teal. And so the idea is that at this transition line here, you almost can't even tell when the ripples disappear. So you just want to very softly kind of blend those last handful of ripples down into that dark blue. And you're going to do that by mixing your teal and the phthalo blue together. And then they'll just like softly disappear. And then looking at this here, I would like to maybe pull off this curved line, or this curve that we have going on here just a little bit more, make it feel like it's flowing off the canvas, just like so. And then just like that, guys, we have finished up our surface water texture right here. You shouldn't really have to come back in and do anything else with this. But while we're doing this step, it looks like our very bottom base layer has gotten dry. So let's toss our smaller medium brush back in our water. And let's grab that big medium brush, the one that we used in the very beginning to do our gradient. So we're going to go ahead and layer in one more layer of our phthalo blue. Again, that's just going to be pure phthalo blue. Just like so, placing it in. So you see how doing these layers, how much darker that just got? And I'm doing nice long, horizontal, full strokes all the way across. And I'm trying to keep that horizontal line consistent. If you start going in at different angles, you're going to, especially with just one solid color, you're going to notice it in the end. So just be aware of that. And try to consistently keep the same range of motion and the same movement in these strokes. And you definitely want to make sure that it's dark under the belly. You want all of this portion underneath your shark to be this really dark color. Where you start to have the fade up into the lighter should be about the midway point around the nose and around the tail. All right, so that's going to be it for that extra layer of blue. Hold on, I'm actually just feathering that just a little bit more right there. All right, excellent, guys. We're gonna let that rest, and now we're gonna hop into our great white shark, do our first layer of color blocking, and then start doing some of our detail.